An elusive criminal is on the loose, but one sharp-eyed individual uncovers the clue that could crack the case wide open. Will he catch the criminal before the police do? Stay tuned to find out. It was just another ordinary evening. The streets were quiet, and the city's hum was beginning to fade into the calm of the night. The air was cool, and everything seemed peaceful. But even in moments of calm, the world has a way of pulling people into something unexpected. As the man walked home, taking his usual route through a dimly lit street, something caught his eye. It wasn't much at first, just a small piece of fabric fluttering against a nearby alley wall. He paused for a moment, a flicker of curiosity sparking within him. The piece of fabric didn't belong there, not in this place. It seemed out of place, and that intrigued him. Without thinking, he approached the fabric, bending down to pick it up. It wasn't just any random piece of cloth. It was torn, ripped in a hurry. As he examined it more closely, something about the pattern stood out to him. There was a symbol on it. A symbol he hadn't seen before, but something about it felt significant. Instinctively, he pulled out his phone, snapping a quick photo. The symbol on the fabric was sharp and unmistakable, its edges catching the dim light. But he wasn't sure why it felt so important. Still, it nagged at him. He tucked the fabric in his pocket and continued on his way, but the image of the symbol stayed with him. The rest of the night was restless. He couldn't sleep, and when morning arrived, he decided to take action. He knew something about the fabric was more than it appeared. Something told him it was more than just a random object discarded in an alley. He began his search, digging through news articles, police reports, and online discussions. As he sifted through information, one name kept coming up, a criminal who had been on the run for months. The robberies, the break-ins, and the violent acts all seemed to point to one elusive figure. But the man knew there was something more. The fabric he'd found, it wasn't just a random piece of cloth. He'd seen something similar before, in the reports. The symbol on the fabric matched the pattern described in one of the criminal's previous acts. The discovery struck him like a bolt of lightning. The police had missed it. He could feel it in his gut. This small, seemingly insignificant clue was connected to the criminal. He had found the break everyone was looking for. As he dug deeper into the connection, he realized that the criminal had been operating with a method that the authorities hadn't fully understood. The pattern was subtle, but the clues were there. The fabric was just one piece of the puzzle. It was a breadcrumb, leading the way to the larger truth. But while he was piecing everything together, the police were working tirelessly, chasing leads and running down every potential suspect. He knew they were on the trail, but there was no guarantee they would find the criminal before him. It was a race, and he didn't know who would reach the destination first. He couldn't sit idly by. Something pushed him forward. A deep-seated feeling that he was the one who could solve this, who could crack the case wide open. So, he set out on his own path, following the clues, trying to stay one step ahead of both the criminal and the police. Each day, he uncovered more. More symbols, more hints, each one pointing him toward a series of locations. The criminal had been careful, but not careful enough. The man began connecting the dots, visiting places the police had missed, uncovering hidden trails, and seeing the patterns that others hadn't. The race intensified. Every step he took was matched by the movement of the police, who were also following their leads, investigating, and uncovering their own pieces of the puzzle. Yet, despite their resources, they hadn't put it all together like he had. They hadn't connected the dots as clearly as he did. Every lead he uncovered was a step closer to catching the criminal, but he was well aware that the police were not far behind. It wasn't long before he found himself in a narrow, quiet alley, the shadows playing tricks on his mind. He had followed the trail through the city, and everything seemed to lead to this place. The clues had converged. The criminal had been here. And if he was right, the man would be close. He moved cautiously, looking around with careful eyes, staying alert to any movement. The city seemed to hold its breath. The stillness was broken only by the sound of his footsteps as he moved through the shadows, trying to stay hidden, trying not to make a sound. His heart raced, his every sense sharpened as he inched closer to his goal. Just ahead, he saw a figure standing alone, looking over their shoulder as if waiting for something. He froze. It was the criminal. The moment of truth was here. But it wasn't just him anymore. The police had arrived, their sirens cutting through the air as they closed in on the same location. The criminal didn't know it yet, but he was surrounded. The man knew that the police were closing in. The situation was growing tense, the stakes higher than ever. In that moment, he had a decision to make. Did he go after the criminal himself, using the information he had uncovered? Or did he trust the police to handle it? The tension in the air was thick, and the clock was ticking. He knew that whatever he decided, it would change everything. With a quick glance, he saw the police closing in. He knew this was his chance to make a difference. With his heart pounding, he made a split-second decision. He would give the police the information they needed, guiding them to the criminal and ensuring the capture. He wouldn't act alone this time. The moment had come, and he wasn't going to let the criminal slip away again. As the police surrounded the area, the man walked up, showing them the photos, the clues, and the path he had followed. The authorities took the information, piecing everything together quickly. The criminal's escape route was clear. The net was closing in, and there was no way out. Together, the man and the police worked in sync, catching the criminal just before he could slip away. The arrest was made. The criminal had been caught, thanks to the man's sharp eye and relentless pursuit of the truth. In the end, it wasn't about the prize of being first or the fame of the catch. It was about uncovering what others had missed, seeing the patterns that were hidden in plain sight. The case was closed, but for the man, this wasn't the end. There were always more mysteries, more hidden clues to discover. The world was full of unanswered questions. And who knew what the future held? For now, he could rest. The criminal was behind bars, and justice had been served. But the thrill of discovery, the satisfaction of solving the puzzle, would stay with him. Because in a world full of chaos, there was something deeply fulfilling about finding order where others saw only confusion. And as the man looked out into the city, he knew this was only the beginning. There would be more clues to find. More criminals to catch. And perhaps, even more mysteries that only someone with a keen eye could solve. The search would continue,